Good morning, people of YouTube. So we are back again today with another deck profile. This time we have Red Hybrid. So Red Hybrid is a deck that is a lot better in BT10 than it was in BT9. So in BT9, the tools that this deck has access to didn't really deal with the meta that well. But in BT10, we have a lot of things that are lower to the ground, and we got a lot of new tools for this deck that turn this deck into kind of an anti-meta, low-to-the-ground rush-style deck, which actually has a very good chance of succeeding, given that that's kind of what the format is going to be in BT10. You know, you have Crossheart, which is glorified Rookie Rush with floaters and a win condition, and then you have Blue Flare, which this deck has a lot of tools to shut down. Minerva Loop, this deck has a lot of tools to shut down. Same with Jess. So a lot of the big threats in the meta, this deck just does better into them. So for that reason, we might see a resurgence of this old archetype. So it's something you might want to be prepared for. If you like this style of content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the card choices. So we'll start with the Tamers and the options because I feel like that'll make the list make a little bit more sense. We have 4 copies of Takuya. So this one, the main reason we're playing it is for its inheritable effect. It says you get plus 2,000, and then if you are at 10,000 or more, you get security attack plus 1. That's pretty insane. It makes your Burning Greymon huge, it makes your Aldamons huge, and in this format, being huge pretty early is really good. Early aggression will win you this format. So we are playing 4 Takuyas. It has another effect, but we will get into that later in the deck profile. Next, we got 4 copies of Tayankari. This card is absolutely busted. This is a new tool that Red got access to in BT9 that synchronizes really well with the Sunrise Buster. If you're at 3 memory or less, or 3 security or less, and your opponent's at 3 security or less, you gain 1 memory for each player. So if you have this plus a memory tamer and both of you are at 3, you're going to start at 5, and then it just kind of stacks on there. Most importantly, this is a yellow source on fields that you can activate the Sunrise Buster. But also the effect to tap this card and then give yourself a 2,000 cushion whenever you swing into their security is pretty nice as well. Letting your Aldamon live more checks and your Burning Greymon as well. So Tayankari is just a really great tamer, gives you memory, enables your options, and it's just great. For the rest of the tamers, we got the single copy of Hero. This is our memory setter. It also makes Aldamon bigger. We typically don't have 4 sources, so that's the reason we're playing this over tie. And then the last tamer, I'm playing 1 copy of Matt and Sora. This card might be completely cuttable, but incoming into the next format, we have a lot of decks that just have a really big hand size. You know, you have Melga X Antibody, like full alpha. Minerva always has a bunch of cards in hand, so being able to gain memory off of that is really nice. Plus, if you have something that's a level 3 that swings into their security and it survives, on your next turn, if it unsuspends, you can tap something. That's pretty cool. It's not always going to come up, but this is a tamer that can give you more memory in conjunction with all of the other things that you're playing, letting you start your turn with a bunch of memory. So for the options, this is where the deck gets really good. These are the new cards that Red has access to since the last time I covered Red Hybrid on the channel. We got 4 copies of Sunrise Buster and 3 copies of Crimson Blaze. So Crimson Blaze will completely win you the Deathxmon and the Minerva Loop matchup. If you play this at optimal times, then you can just shut them out of their next turn play by preventing them from playing any Digimon by card effects, which is absolutely cool. Plus, this also just functions as a board wipe that gets cheaper for everything they have in play. Sunrise Buster lets you play Tamers and delete big problem cards. This card is something that the deck was lacking before that we are very, very welcome to have now. Like, this is one of those cards that definitely makes this deck significantly better. Because I think last time I was playing this deck, I was being forced to play cards like Atomic Blaster and Gaia Force. Sunrise Buster just excels the deck in every way. It gets you closer to every goal that you want to achieve with it, and I absolutely love this card. For the rest of the options, I only play one copy of Atomic Inferno. Gives you extra security buff, and gives you plus 3,000. It's pretty nice, but it's kind of a win more card, and you're not always going to need it. But we cut it down to make room for a copy of Blinding Ray, because we are playing the yellow sources now so that we can have this. This card just gives you 2 memory out of nowhere at the cost of a security card, letting you go for an extra hybrid during your turn, or give you extra memory to do whatever you need to do. But this is a card that helps you push for game, and it's just a very good inclusion in the deck. And we couldn't do it without the dual color Tamers. So that's it for our options. We play quite a few of them. Next, we'll go on to the Digitama and the rookies. So I'm going to put a couple on the table here. We got the 4 copies of the Gigimon. If we are Guilmon or a Growlmon, we can draw a card when attacking. We are only playing Guilmon sources. If you do not have the promo Guilmons, you should be playing some mix of these cards, the Demimera and the Kapuri, and you should just cut the promo Guils and the Guilmon X antibodies for more hybrid rookies, because that is a good way to play the deck. It fuels the Emperor Greymon play. And Kapuri and Demimera will give you just generic 1000 DP buffs, but if you do have the promo Guilmons, then the 4 copies of the Gigimon is just absolutely absurd. Letting you draw 2 cards whenever you attack off of the little buddy is pretty cool. Or being able to promote Evolve into Guilmon X, pop something, draw off the evolution, and then swing and then draw again is also very strong. So that's it for the eggs. For the rookies, as I alluded to earlier, we got 4 copies of the promo Guilmon. Drawing cards is nice. We got 3 copies of the Guilmon X antibody. Popping cards is nice. Also, it's a Guilmon name for the extra Guilmons. These are really the only ones worth playing. I guess you could play the Guilmon from like BT2 or 3. The one that's if you have 5 or more cards in trash plus 1,000. But I don't like that card. I think these are just the optimal ones to play. Next, onto one of the new tools that the deck has access to, we have 4 copies of Solarmon. This card is key going into next format. This card shuts Digicross down as an entire mechanic. It also severely cripples Deathxmon, which makes it so that one of this deck's biggest weaknesses that is played in every deck is so much easier mitigated. Like, Solarmon does so much for this deck, and I think you absolutely have to play it at 4. Thank you, Deathxmon Starter Deck, for giving us access to this card. For the last red rookies that we're playing, I'm playing 2 copies of the BT4 Flamemon. This is on play reveal 3. You get to add a red Tamer and a hybrid card. That's really nice. You have access to the Tainkaris off of this. The other Flamemon only searches Takuya, which is a Tamer that you will be grabbing sometimes off of this, but it also only grabs 1 card, where this has the potential to grab 2. Plus the 1,000 extra DP matters seldomly, but it does come up from time to time. And then for the non-red rookies, I have 1 copy of Bokomon. Searching all your pieces is nice, and if it lives until your next turn, you can kind of pop off by evolving one of your Tamers and do a hybrid and gaining back the 2 memory, making some of them free, and making your Burning Greymon play only cost 1, which is really cool. But there are a lot of ways to deal with this card in the BT10 meta, so I don't know that I would play more than 1 of this. 2 would be the absolute most. And then for the last rookie slot, you should probably be playing one of these 2 cards if you want to add another yellow source for the Sunrise Buster. We have the Falcomon from BT4 and the Pillowmon from BT9. So Falcomon is a 2-cost to hard play, 5,000 DP vanilla. So it's just a good stat. It's a good stat rookie that you can just play. It helps you avoid Deathxmon by playing this for only 2 and then having this thing be the one that's deleted. Plus, if you need to play a Sunrise Buster and you're at 2 memory, then you can just hard slam this, and then you have the yellow source in play, and then you can just play the Sunrise. So this is one of the cheaper options that you can do, and for that reason, I think this is one of the best ones to consider. But we also have access to Pillowmon. If you want to pay 1 more memory and make your matchup against Minervamon and Jessmon a little bit better, Pillowmon has the same effect as the secondary effect of Crimson Blaze, which says players can't play Digimon by effects. So this stops Jessmon from hard slamming a bunch of sisters off of the Jessmon effect. It stops Minerva from popping off of the Revive from Darkness Minerva combo. Pillowmon is really cool, and it's something that I definitely want to test because it's going to immediately hinder all of the decks that everybody wants to play right out of the gate. So you shouldn't play both of these. You only have room for one, so choose whichever one you like more. So for the rest of the deck, we're going on to the hybrid section. You got 4 copies of Burning Greymon. This card helps you pop small bodies. It's pretty nice. We got 3 copies of good old Agnes. Agunimon evolves for 2 off of a rookie, but we wanted to cut this card down to 3 to make room for 3 copies of the Burning Greymon from BT4. So the reason for this, a lot of people were dissuaded from playing this card by the evolution cost. It's a 3 cost to evolve on top of a Tamer or a rookie, but this card gets plus 3,000 during your turn, which means if you evolve this on top of Takuya, then the Takuya will give you plus 2,000 off of its inheritable effect, putting you up to 11,000. And since you triggered the 10,000 or more threshold, you get security attack plus 1 for just 3 memory off of a rookie that can come out of nowhere. If you have the Boko in play, you can do this for just 1, and then maybe do something like Atomic Inferno, and then you're just absolutely huge. Burning Greymon functions just as a great mini-boss monster, and it finds its place in this deck pretty well. So for the level 5s, I'm playing 1 copy of the old Aldamon from BT4. This is one of the ones that you want to build up in the raising area if you can. Like, if you draw onto this card and it's going to do things for you, that's pretty much how you're going to do it. Unless you have a bunch of Tamers in play that you're gaining a bunch of memory off of. But this card has security attack plus 1, and during your turn it gets plus 4,000, putting that up to 11,000. And if you have Takuya in your sources, it's going to be a 13 security attack plus 2. So this card can be pretty detrimental to your opponent if you can get this set up in your raising area. But the main boss monster that you're going to go for is the Aldamon from BT7. So the reason this one's so good, this one also gets plus 4,000 during your turn, but it can evolve on top of a hybrid Digimon with a Tamer in its sources for just 1 memory. So this card can let you, if you start off at 3 memory by your Tyankari or the memory setter, something like that, you can evolve a Tamer into a hybrid for 2, evolve into this for 1, and then you can swing for 2 checks at 13,000. That's pretty nice. It's like, if that is applicable if the Tamer was the Takuya. Anything else, you're hitting 1 check at 11, but you can pump yourself up with the copy of Atomic Inferno that we do play. This is just overall a great card, and is definitely worth including in the list. So we have 2 more slots in the deck. One of them is Emperor Greymon. So this card is here for the surprise attack factor. You can blitz for game with this card if you have 5 cards in your trash, with Takuya's other effect. If it's in play, you can take 5 hybrids from your trash, put them underneath this card, and then evolve into an Emperor Greymon if you so choose. And if you do that, then you're going to stack a bunch of inheritable sources. You can get the option negation from the BT7 Aldamon. If you don't play the Guilmons and you play other hybrids, you can get piercing and stuff this way with the old Flamemon, which is pretty nice. But mostly this is in here to be able to clear bodies that you would have trouble removing if you don't have access to Sunrise Buster. This is just a good card to surprise attack over things with, and it can, hit for game as well. So it's definitely worth including, and I would play at least 1 of it. If you want to play 2 copies of this card, though, cut the Deathxmon, because we play 1 copy of this. Deathx is just pretty good in every deck this format. This deck is no exception. If things get out of hand and you have a bunch of Tamers in play, but you don't have a way to clear your opponent's field, Deathx is just a good way to just play that, deal with all of the immediate problems, and then on your next turn, your opponent's probably going to spend all of their resources trying to remove this. On your next turn, you're going to be set up to do your hybrid plays for game. So Deathx definitely finds a great niche in this deck, but it is absolutely not mandatory, and you could cut it for an Emperor Grey. But that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. This is definitely a rogue pick, but I think it has an absolutely high chance of succeeding, given the right meta state. And I think the way that the meta is shaping up to be in at least the early portion of BT10, I think if you were going to take this deck to a regional or a local, you could probably catch a bunch of people off guard and kind of steamroll over them. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.